Alright, let's take two on this thing. Sitting here at Cincinnati Municipal Lunken Field, and this is not real world weather. This is weather that I've set up because I want to show you something about clouds and about an Nvidia setting. So yeah, well, first off, let's look at Bijan's four-season trees in the fall. Last few months ago I did a look at them, various different things, mostly looking at tropical trees and the trees in Northern California. Let's see, so let me go like this, and there's there's the autumn trees. This is Cincinnati, Ohio. I looked at them. You know, they look good. You know, it's you know, and when winter comes, I'll do the same thing again. But that's, you know, typical, I think, for the Midwest. You know, in between the and I don't think they change all autumn. This is what they look like during the autumn, and then when winter comes, you have to copy the files over and you get winter trees. So there's no gradual changing or anything like that. But at least you get something, right? So it would be curious. And then if you go south, you wouldn't get a lot of these trees, right? This is just, you know, and we'll check that next time. I might do a flight later on down in Florida. And there shouldn't obviously be any of these trees there. But not too bad, huh? And I came here to this area because it's a nice area to fly around. I like flying into Covington as well, which is not far away. So, and then one of the settings in Nvidia is, this is something that I think people that are flying with 1080p probably get more of than I get. I don't see a lot of shimmering myself, or I haven't seen a lot of shimmering. But this gamma correction, people are reporting that this is causing shimmering, so shut it off. So I shut it off. It looks great. Seems okay. Let's see. Just give me a moment here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so they're reporting that this is causing shimmering. I got this off the AvSim forum. They were talking about that. The other setting is more interesting, and that's the reason I set these clouds up the way I did. So we will see that shortly, okay? So there's the approach we're going to fly. I'm going to take off from Lunken, and we're going to fly out a little ways, look at the trees some more, see what they look like, and then make a right turn and go up and fly the ILS in and out of the clouds and see what they look like. Alright, so let's see if we're ready here. Let's see if I've got this thing set up. Okay, so I've gone here to bearing source and turned on nav2 and made that the CVG VOR, because that's what the missed approach is for this approach. I put in 5,000. I'm on heading mode. I've got the toga, or the flight director on toga, so we're heading mode in toga, set runway heading here. And this is kind of close in, so let's zoom that out just a little bit. My flaps are on, gear is down. Am I all set? Weights are already set. My arrival performance is messed up. So we'll probably, and I'll check it, but I'll probably end up just having to use 102 knots for my VREF, just as a safety buffer. And here's my takeoff. Takeoff is 95, 109, 140. So flaps up at 129. Sorry. People keep texting me. It's good to be needed, right? Runway heading is set, altimeter is set, altitude is set, and we're ready to go. Okay, so lights, icing, flaps, transponder, I'm not going to worry about, and toga is set. Parking brake is off. Let's get this out of the way. Flaps in a little bit for some little extra lift to get over the hills. And now flaps can come up. Yaw damper IAS mode. Just stay below 200 knots. Get back down below 200 knots. Now, this other setting is negative load bias. It's under texture filtering. And so if you don't have this on, if you have it set to
altitude
allow, then you'll see these lines that show up in the clouds, in the shadows. And as they disappear, you know, as they fade out, you'll see these lines and things will get real jaggy. If you notice, those look like clouds. There's no jaggy, there's no lines. If you see those, then go into that setting. Sorry, I've got to do some flying here. And set it to clamp. Some folks are reporting that it can hurt performance some. I'm not sure which video cards. I didn't notice any difference. But now we're flying in and out of the clouds, and this is the other thing that I noticed about it. So let's get close. And, you know, before I turned it on, I'm with the autopilot on, so I can just talk. Before I turned it on, the clouds, it always seemed like I was going extremely slow. So now I see more of a sense of speed. Like we're doing about, I'm fast are we going here? 230 knots. Let's see. So, yeah. Yeah, so now you can sort of get a sense, more of a sense of the speed. So when you're coming in for the approach and looking down like that, you know, it just seems like the clouds, I don't know, they stay formed longer. I noticed when I was shooting approaches in Jacksonville one day, and I was turning and I was looking at how incredibly slow I was moving above the clouds. It looked like, I don't know, like I was in a Cessna or something. Which is, this is a Cessna, so what's the problem, right? No, I mean, it was like I was in a Cessna 172. So, you know, that by itself made it worth it to turn the setting on. Now, I don't know if Microsoft did something to their clouds. I kind of doubt it, but there was a big change after I made that. So let's turn right. This will set us up on the downwind. Just looking for the fall trees, which I don't see very much right now. Well, we'll just have to take a look at them as they get lower. Maybe they appear as you get lower or something. So, yeah. And I'll descend down to 3,000 before we get to the initial approach phase. So it still looks slow, but it doesn't look as slow, you know. If you've ever watched a real world video of an airplane flying in the clouds, you know, it can be rather, I mean, you get a sense for the speed, and that's what I was looking for. It's certainly better than it was. Okay, so I need to come in closer. Pretty cool, actually. We're well worth that setting. So yeah, I'd give it a try. The negative load here, let me just show you real quick. Negative load bias, texture filtering, negative load bias. Let's just set it to clamp. I have this set to high performance. I have it on. Like I said, you can't adjust these. Yeah, if you do adjust these, then you have to restart your sim. let's descend. Let's go down to 4,000. Let's see, so to 194. Just power back just a bit. Yes, down. And oh wait.
Altitude.
See if those fall trees start to show up. This is the latest version of his trees. I just re-downloaded them the other day. So there's 4,000. Still don't see much of them. Going down to 3.
Altitude.
Yes, down. Oh, there they are. So I guess those are all supposed to be evergreens over there. They're pretty. There's water towers. Hold 190 knots or so. So I'll go outside of Covey here. And I've already set the course, so I can switch to green needles. Oh, and we were talking about performance data, so if I go to the approach, it's all set. Oh, now it's working, 102. Oh, did I nail it? 102 knots. Alright. So now that should be set here. Yep, 102 and 109. Let's go here. And So we're about 2,200 feet up right here. It's about 800 feet to the ground. Or the ground is 800 feet MSL. That looks really good. Let's click approach. So minimums are set here, 800 feet. There's the approach. So 110.9 is dialed in. The course is set to 205. Glide slope intercepted is 3,000 or 2,000 feet. That's where you'll be at the final approach fix anyway. DH is 798. Oh, airport elevation is 483. So there you go. And MSA is 2,900. Now let's see if this thing engages the approach. Set right there. Give it a little bit more of a dog leg. Did not engage the localizer. Damn it. What is the deal here? Alright.
Autopilot.
Oh, so now it's got the damn localizer. My rule of thumb for intercepting the localizer is to put the top of this line draw a straight line and fly that heading from here to the top of that line. So as I'm getting closer, then I turn my heading a little more like this. Okay. And I've used that on just about every airplane. Alright, so what speed are we? Need to slow it down. Alright, 196, we can go flaps 1, go gear down. And the wind should be pretty much straight down the runway. Gears down and indicated. Flaps 1 notch. Here's glide slope. And I usually put my final notch of flaps down at 500 feet. pretty good. VREF plus 20. There's the airport. There we go. Flaps full.
500. 500.
Yep. Landing light on.
Minimums. Minimums.
There's BREF right there. It's bouncing around. I'm going to give it a little bit extra power. Oh, no, 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 no. Well, this is turning out to be a lot more interesting than I thought. Idle. Little left rudder. There we go. And it's okay to land on one wheel. Smaller airplanes, you know, if your airplane's not lined up on the runway, you know, right before you touch down, give it some rudder, and then the airplane will start to drift over because of the crosswind. We'll just then tip the airplane to the side a little bit. So that's how you do it in a strong wind. So if your nose is pointed to the right of the runway like mine was there, give it a little bit of left rudder, let the airplane line up, and then give it some right aileron to tip the airplane to the right, and just go ahead and land on one wheel. The pressure of that wind is going to keep the airplane from tipping over. So let's see, light sizing, strobes off. So yeah, and try it. It's really kind of fun. That's how you do it in small airplanes. You don't see jets do it. I sat at Baltimore Washington Airport watching airplanes land for like an hour, and you know, they'll come down final with the nose pointed in, you know, left or right of the center line, and just touch down with the airplane, you know, like that. So if the nose is pointed to the right of the center line, they just fly all the way down to the runway, and then let the airplane touch down, and then it straightens itself up. I watched them do it over and over again. So it either straightens itself up, or they give it some rudder after they touch down or something. You know, I don't know what they do, but they don't use the small airplane technique at all that I saw. And then something else you'll see is, and I even see it in business jets, they'll use their ailerons to keep the airplane firmly planted on the ground. Their ailerons and rudder, or ailerons and elevator. So they'll dive. Let's see. So no, I'm gonna remember. They'll climb into the wind. So if the wind is off their nose, they'll climb. Is that right? No, they'll dive into the wind, and if it's behind them, they'll climb away from it. And what that does is keeps the nose wheel firmly planted. So if it's coming from your right front, for example, you turn your ailerons and rudder, or your ailerons to the right, full, and then dive into it. And that keeps the nose wheel down. And if it's coming from your left rear, you give it right rudder, but you climb away from it, and that keeps the nose wheel firmly planted. And you'll see, I saw a Bijan pilot doing that, and I thought, airplane that big, and they do that. Yes, a forklift by itself on a runway. I have no idea where I'm going. That's a pretty airplane. What is that? What's a TBM? Alright. Our park taxiway light is off. Cut off the engines. And 41 minutes. So that's it. So yeah, so for the cloud fix, clamp, you can check your frame rates, see if it hurts it at all, but clamp tends to, it looks like that really makes them good. You get rid of those jaggy lines when they're in the shadows, and when they're disappearing, you get rid of those. And you get more of a sense of speed going through them, and gamma correction. So if you're getting shimmering, then try shutting that off, and that should help that. And just going back up, look at the cloud, or the trees. They look good. It's nice to have seasons. Alright. Who knows, maybe I'll be on again later. I just wanted to get that out, and I didn't want to make it, because I might go up and do some practice approaches with a VATSIM controller later on tonight. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. See you online later.